China trade talks stall once again. You know, somebody wrote me a while back and told me, oh, you know, this trade war, this is so horrible because people aren't going to be able to go to Walmart and shop. They're going to get priced out at Walmart. It's going to be too expensive for the average American to go to Walmart. The average American, the American consumer is not going to stop shopping. They are addicted to spending money. They are addicted to shopping. The American consumer is not going to stop until he or she is forced to stop. It's Thursday, November 14, 2019. So trade talks stall again. And what is new? How long do these markets continue to believe the lies about these continued trade talks? We can't even get past phase one. Imagine if we ever get past phase one, how long phase two is going to last. But to these people who believe that this trade war is just having such an effect on the U.S. consumer, I have to disagree. Is it having an effect in certain parts of the economy? Yes. But the Chinese economy is getting annihilated in this trade war. But these people who believe that the average person isn't going to be able to shop at Walmart or that they're going to stop shopping at Walmart, that's absolutely untrue. Quarterly earnings for Walmart topped estimates. They're raising annual earnings outlook for next year. So there seems to be no problem with people shopping at Walmart, even though we are in this trade war with China. The average American consumer is not going to stop spending because they can't. They're addicted to spending. As long as they have a paycheck, as long as they have government subsidy, as long as they have a credit card, the average consumer here in America is not going to stop spending. They are absolutely addicted and out of control. These are the same people who are going to continue to run up their credit cards at Walmart this Christmas, yet they haven't even paid off their credit card from last Christmas. We have a serious problem here in America. People cannot control themselves. They cannot stop spending, just like the U.S. government here in America cannot stop spending. People have more money going out than coming in, just like the U.S. government. It's not going to be China that collapses the U.S. economy. It's going to be the massive debt that we created right here for ourselves. So let's dive into what the U.S. consumer is doing, because they're not just spending money at Walmart. They're spending it in many places, and many times they're spending money that they don't even have. There's a very good article today on Zero Hedge. I highly recommend it. And make sure you don't take my word for any of this. Make sure you do your own due diligence, do your own homework, and verify these stories. Many of you watch other channels, and you shouldn't believe everything you hear, everything you read. You really need to do some homework and verify the accuracy of what's happening. Zero Hedge, the oh crap moment for subprime auto loans arrives. Serious delinquencies blow out. What we are witnessing now on top of the retail apocalypse is we are watching the subprime apocalypse take place, and it is getting absolutely out of control. I'm going to go through some of this article for you. This is what the U.S. consumer is doing. There are serious auto loan delinquencies, and it has reached a crisis level here in America. According to the New York Fed data today, auto loans that are 90 days or more past due in the third quarter of 2019 reached a historical level of $62 billion. That's $62 billion of outstanding debt that is 90 days plus delinquent. Lenders like Santander Consumer USA, Credit Acceptance Corporation, and many smaller specialized lenders are now trying to deal with this mess. If they cannot cure the delinquency, they hire specialized companies that repossess the vehicles to be sold at auction. Now, if there's a business that must be booming in America, it must be the auto repossession business and the auto auctions in this country. Those two businesses must be absolutely booming. So the lender runs into a problem, And the problem is this: the difference between the loan balance and the proceeds from the auction plus the cost involved are what the lender loses on the deal. So he's got to pay the auction company. He's also got to pay the repossession company, the repo company that has to go out, find the vehicle, repossess it, and so there's a fee for that. So the lender loses on the deal. This is hitting lenders' balance sheets and income statements, and it's only getting worse as delinquencies are piling up. And guess what? The lenders continue to loan to risky consumers. So expect to see many, many more vehicle delinquencies in America as these lenders are just addicted to greed and money and are continuing these risky loans to customers who can't afford these vehicles in the first place. There is $1.32 trillion, $1.32 trillion in total car loans and leases outstanding. When we look at 90-day delinquencies plus, 90 days plus, 4.71% of these loans are delinquent. 90 days delinquent. We don't know how many are 30 or 60 days delinquent, but we do know out of the $1.32 trillion, that 4.71% are delinquent. This is the highest level since the fourth quarter of 2011, when the auto industry was emerging from collapse. Now it's merging into a collapse, not out. Greed by the lenders and consumers who have no control are causing another U.S. bubble that is going to burst like we've never seen before. We have, again, this greed with these lenders making these subprime loans to customers who they know can't afford these vehicles. Some of these companies not even verifying income. And that's a big problem. And so this is exactly what caused, this is the same irresponsible behavior that caused the 2008 housing crash. And this same behavior, this irresponsibility, this recklessness is being repeated in the auto industry right now, where lenders are making loans to customers that they know cannot afford these cars. You have consumers buying these automobiles who know damn well they can't afford to be driving these cars. So this is a formula for disaster, and it's only getting worse. So as I'm making this video, more subprime loans are being made to people who cannot afford these vehicles. When we look at the typical consumer in America, whether they're shopping at Walmart or they're going out and buying a car today, many of these people know that they cannot afford what they are buying. Many people buying things with money they don't have, whether that's at Walmart or if that's an automobile or an SUV or whatever type of vehicle it might be. Many of these people know damn well that they cannot afford these purchases. And these lenders, these subprime lenders that we're now seeing, they are preying upon these people. They're taking full advantage of the situation. And at the end of the day, the country is going to bear the cost. It's a financial burden on the system. And just like in '08, as soon as it blows up, the first thing they're going to want is a bailout, when they know damn well they're making loans to people who cannot afford this. You got credit card companies dishing out every day, credit card companies calling you, trying to get you to take another credit card at 12, 13%, 18, 22% interest, whatever the case might be. They're just preying on these people who are just financially helpless, that just don't know, like they just cannot control themselves. They have an addiction to spending. They live by the motto that you only live once, right? And so they live for today. They don't think about tomorrow. And these financial institutions and banks take full advantage of these people preying on them. And then once it all implodes, the banks want us to pay for these bad loans that they made to these people who cannot control themselves. So what is a 100% fact about the U.S. consumer? is they cannot control themselves. And you do not want to be one of these people. Make sure that you have full control of your actions. Make sure that you are paying down your debt, get it manageable or get it paid off. Do not be one of these people. These are the masses. These are the sheep. These are the people that are going to be led to slaughter when this economic collapse hits America. You do not want to have a massive auto payment or an auto lease. You don't want massive credit card debt. Be in control of your life and have some direction and responsibility. Again, you do not want to be heading into a recession or a massive economic collapse holding debt. These are the people who are going to be in a whirlwind of very massive trouble when this happens. If you think, I mean, these people are barely getting by right now. They're paycheck to paycheck. These people, I don't know how these kind of people can sleep at night. Wait till this economy slows down. Wait till this correction occurs. These people are going to be exactly what I talk about on a daily basis. These are going to be the victims. These are going to be the statistics. These are going to be the people that fail. These are going to be people with desperation. These are people that aren't just going to be living paycheck to paycheck. They're going to be living day to day, not knowing what's going to happen. You do not want to put yourself in this situation. These are going to be very helpless people. And these are the people making bad decisions today that are going to pay the price tomorrow. Do not be one of them. They cannot control themselves. As long as they have a paycheck, they will spend it. As long as they have a tax refund, they will spend it. As long as they have a credit card, they will max it out. If this is a lie, if you think what I'm telling you is a lie, how come consumer debt and household debt is at all-time highs today? That's a fact. Now get this. This is very, very interesting. When we take in the average U.S. household, following the financial crisis, combined levels of income and debt are not able to meet the standard of living. Currently, there is almost a $2,654 annual deficit that cannot be filled. So people, as they use their paychecks and their credit cards, are falling behind over $2,600 a year per average household here in the United States of America. So even spending money they don't have, they're falling down or falling behind over $2,600 annually. That's very scary. Remember, debt is a very negative thing. You don't want it, or you want to have the least amount of debt as possible. And one way to avoid it is don't get into it. Do everything in your power not to acquire debt. If you can't afford something today, save up for it and pay for it later. Okay? Do you need to drive an $80,000 SUV right now when you're going to have 7 or 8 years of payments? You know, really, I think people really, really need to think, especially right now, it's never been more imperative to really make very sound financial decisions, because we are on the brink, we are on the cusp of heading into a collapse here. And I think this is a very wrong time to be financing SUVs and cars for 7 or 8 years, or even taking on debt. You know, do you need a $50,000 sedan or an $80,000 SUV right now? Think about what could possibly, the potential, the danger that's out there that's coming. The borrower is the slave to the lender. Debt is a cancer on individual wealth. Me personally, look, if you can write a check and buy an Escalade tomorrow, God bless you, you deserve it. But if you need 8 years, and then more than likely in a few years, you'll turn it in with negative equity and roll it over into a bigger loan, driving a newer Escalade. These are the bad decisions people are making, and so many people could avoid the disaster that they're bringing upon themselves if they would just think about what they're doing, if they would just put a little bit more control in their decision making, but they won't, because we're now trained to go on social media, show everybody what we're eating and drinking, what we're driving. You know, we need to impress people we don't even know, and or we have to impress our family members or relatives. And it's like, how are you really impressing anybody when all you're doing is taking on more debt to impress people you don't even like? I mean, just think about how ridiculous that is. What's pushing consumer confidence? Well, it's things like social media. It's things like the media on your television. It's these business analysts, these business shows, and all this media telling you that the stock market is great, even though most people aren't even in the stock market. They believe everything's great because the stock market's at all-time highs, even though they're not even in it. They don't know anything about it. All they know is what the media is telling them, that it's up, things are great, it's never been, the markets have never been so incredible, so everybody believes everything is okay. Unemployment is at the lowest in decades, even though 100 million people right now in America are not working, but the media and all the business analysts tell you how great the unemployment numbers are, even though you and I both know they're severely manipulated. And we also know this, that a lot of these people are working part-time, or they're working in the service sector making $10 or $12 an hour. They're working for Uber, they're working for Lyft, they're bartending, they're cutting hair, they're fitness trainers, at some fitness club, making $10, $12, maybe $14 an hour. 52% of American workers are making less than $32,000 a year. I don't know why we're not hearing about this from all these business analysts, Fox Business, CNBC. We never hear about what kind of jobs people are really working and how many side hustles they need now just to get by. Everything right now is about as good as it's going to get. You need to really you really need to put that in your head, that they've done everything. They've thrown everything in the kitchen sink at these markets to keep them propped up, everything they could do to kick the can down the road a little bit farther. And this is as good as it gets. I continue to read articles, and there's one on Bloomberg here today, and it was talking about that consumer confidence, the Consumer Comfort Index fell to 58 from 59.1, and it has now plunged 5.4 points in the last 3 weeks. This is the biggest drop since 2008. This is the lowest level of consumer confidence since January. So even though consumer confidence is dropping, people are still spending money because there is such an addiction for people. They don't care if they have confidence or not. The average American is going to spend, confidence or no confidence. They cannot control themselves. When we look at the indexes here, State of the Economy Index is at 58.6, down from 60.3. Personal Finance Index, 61.9, down from 63.3. And Buying Climate Index, 53.6, down from 53.9. So even though we see these indicators, we can feel the climate, the average American cannot stop spending. They are out of control, just like the U.S. government out of control. And this is going to be the implosion of America. It's going to be debt. It's not going to be China negotiations and China trade wars. It's not Russia. What is going to implode the U.S. economy is going to be debt that was created by the U.S. It's going to be debt that was created by the U.S. consumer, running up their credit cards, buying vehicles with subprime loans. And it's going to be the greed, again, of these banks, just like the same type of greed with the banking system back in '08 that caused the collapse, making these loans, these housing loans to people who couldn't afford them. And we're seeing subprime loans getting back into housing. And the whole thing is absolutely out of control. So the bottom line is this: don't be a loser. Don't be a person that cannot control themselves. Don't be a person who just lives for today. It is what it is. Don't be one of these people. These are the people who are being led to slaughter. These are the people who are going to lose everything.